Once you've installed SQL Server 2008 and SQL Server Management Studio, you can start to manage your SQL Server installation. There are two aspects to this. First, to start and stop SQL Server, you can use the Windows Services panel. To get there, go to the Control panel. I'm opening the Windows Start menu on Windows Vista. From there, I'll go to the Control panel. And I'll select the Classic View. From the Classic View, select Administrative Tools, and from there double-click on Services. This is the panel where you can turn services on and off, and configure whether they start up automatically when you turn your system on. I've expanded the Services panel to full screen. Now I'll scroll down to the SQL Server section. You'll see that there are many services that are installed during the SQL Server installation. This is the primary one, SQL Server. Notice that after you've installed SQL Server, it's configured to start automatically. If at any time you need to stop SQL Server, to regain memory for example, or just to clear its own memory, you can select the service, and then go up to the toolbar and click Stop Service and then restart it, or you can simply click the Restart Service button. You can also double-click into the service, and that will open up the configuration screen. Here, you can indicate whether you want the database to start automatically upon system startup. Again, by default, it starts up automatically, but you can change that to manual, and then when you want to use SQL Server, you'll need to open the Services panel and start it yourself. I'll leave it set to its default setting of automatic, and I'll cancel out of this dialog box and close the Services panel. The other aspect of managing SQL Server is learning how to use SQL Server Management Studio. To open it, go to the Windows Start menu to All Programs. From there, go to the folder Microsoft SQL Server 2008. And from there, select SQL Server Management Studio. If you use the application frequently, you might want to add a shortcut to your desktop or to the shortcuts list at the bottom of the screen. When Microsoft SQL Server Management Studio first opens, it looks for an SQL Server installation. On my system, it automatically found the SQL Express instance on my machine, where the machine name is David MB Pro. If you don't see your server listed, you can ask the Management Studio to browse for it. Click the down list and select Browse for More. In the Browse for Servers dialog, open the Database Engine list, select your instance of Microsoft SQL Server, and click OK. Each time you do this, a new entry will be added to the list of servers that you'll see. So for example, on my system, I see my server listed twice. There's no problem with that, as long as you have the syntax correct, the name of the machine, a backslash, and then the name of the instance of SQL Server. Once you've selected the server, you then indicate how you want to authenticate, that is, how to log in. The default is Windows Authentication, which means that the user account that's running SQL Server is actually used to log in the background. Alternatively, you can use the username and password of the system administrator that you set up during installation. When I choose SQL Server Authentication, I then log in with the system administrator username, which by default is SA. And then I enter the password that I created during the installation process, which on my system was password123. So whether you authenticate using Windows or SQL Server Authentication, you should now be able to click the Connect button and see your server listed in the Object Explorer panel on the left. Within the Object Explorer, you can open the Databases list, and you should see an item there called System Databases. Because we haven't added any user databases yet, you won't see any actual user data. There are also categories for security, server objects, replication, and management. I'm going to be showing you in other videos how to create a brand new database and how to restore a database that's provided to you from another SQL Server installation.